Hey, what's going on, everybody? Just want to say what's up to all the goddesses. Much love. All praise to the Most High. As you can see, the title of the timeline: Understanding God's Plan for the Ages. So I'm not really gonna go over this too much. Just a couple things. One thing I really wanted to point out. You can stop it, pause it, screenshot it, look over it. But as we know, as we can look around, and as we look through history, all the destruction that's been going on and all the bullshit, we can pretty much attribute to the fall. And so who's been at play down here. So this is just to help clear up some things, to help get you in the right direction. If you was on the fence, this way or that way, if you can't, understand what's going on in the world, because everything is prophesized. Maybe this will help you get in the book, and start studying for yourself. But time's ticking, the clock's ticking. Tomorrow's not promised. But let's get back into this. Just wanted to let you know who's been playing. But as we know, we have a creator. If you haven't figured that out by now, this place is a creation. You can just look around. It's not hard to see. They call it the Matrix. It's a matrix in a matrix. But one of the most famous descendants, Shem, one of the firstborn. And you could pause it, go over it, which, peg leg to leg, the land was divided during his time. But let's get to this. Abraham, Isaac, Esau, Jacob. Esau married 4 wives who were Hittites and 2 wives who were daughters of Ishmael. Jacob had 12 sons, and his line was the line of the covenant, because that's what everybody's worried about. The chosen, or the covenant is. Who's God coming back for? Who's gonna be saved? Who ain't gonna be saved? But he got Duke Amalek there in the middle, freed off. Here we have the origin of the Amalekites, who were the first to attack Israel. Jacob and his 12 sons with their families went down into Egypt. Joseph was then ruler in Egypt under Pharaoh. After the death of Joseph, there arose pharaohs who knew not Joseph. The descendants of Esau became powerful and were with the opposition that overthrew the dynasty that had been favorable to Israel. Ramses the first of the line of Esau came to the throne, and the oppression of Israel began under him. So, that's letting you know, once you read, the Bible. We know we got pyramids on every continent. And we know God divided the land up between the sons. So, are you getting a big picture yet? I got Shem, first son of Noah, root of Semitic languages. And as you see, it looks Asia, and they got Jerusalem there in Asia, which we know today is in Africa, or what they want to say, the Middle East. This is the T.O. map from Isidore of Seville, 1340. The second root is the Hamitic, Ham, son of Noah, super dark. and they in Africa. Then we had the Japhet, third son. They're in Europa. So this is from the tomb of Seti I in Egypt. Far right, that's called the Root race, which they was red, copper color red. Same color as the Indians that Christopher Columbus found when he got here. Copper color Indians. Got copper color Egyptians. And they got pyramids on every continent. And Shem had the biggest portion of the earth. But with the Egyptian mythology, that far left one is called the Tamahu, the created white race. I know some people ain't gonna like this, but this is what's on the walls, the Egyptian walls. The civilizations that, today still revere and marvel at how they built the pyramids. So it's just what's on the walls. But going back, this guy down here on the bottom left, he would be like the Shem. See his skin color, copper color. And then above him would be the Ham, second race, dark. And then we have these two other races that look like the Muslims and Middle Easterns. But it's kind of ironic how today we see the Muslim and Middle Easterners. They're pretty much in Egypt and the Middle East. But we just pointed out that Jerusalem was in Asia. And then they was attacked. So, who's the real Israelites? You gotta use common sense sometimes, and it's not hard to think for yourself. But let's get into it. Adam and was born in the year 4000 BC. That's what they're saying. I'm guessing. World population was 7 million. Didn't have no Jews. Noah, 3000 BC. World population 14 million. No Jews. Abraham, 2000 BC. World population 27 million. No Jews. And we got Moses, 1500 BC. World population 35 million. 2 million Jews. They was getting busy. They was getting busy. Shit. But let's get into it. We got the picture of the United States of America. I just want to kind of get you a good broad view, micro view, so you can kind of see the different regions, what they was good for. We got to the west coast, upper west coast, basin and range. Below that, we got the Fruitful Rim, then the Prairie Gateway, Mississippi, portals, southern seaboard, for those that know. Eastern uplands, northern crescent, the heartland, for those that know. Northern Great Plains. And right here, we have basically in the middle of America, a big wheat belt where a lot of wheat's grown. So wheat's, that's the meaning of civilization right there, breaking bread, So that played a major part in all cultures, especially today. America, they feed the world. So same as today as in back in the day. Ain't no different. It's just another picture of the same thing. Basically the same thing, the Great Plains. Good place to grow wheat. Same thing. You got the Great Basin, which would be a good bowl. Same thing. Uh, Up here in the Great Plains, we got a wolf and what it looks like a locust slash grasshopper. And I put this in there, for, to get your brain moving, get the neurons firing. Because the plains, field of reeds, that's big in the Greek and Egyptian mythology. As far as paradise and stuff like that. And I know with the Roman mythology, what was it? Yeah, Romulus and Remus. Rome was founded by them suckling from a she wolf. So then you got Egyptian, the locust plagues. For those that know, I love this map right here. This is basically a depiction of the center of the world. Right there in the middle, you got Rupus Negra, the magnetic mountain. And this is a depiction of the four rivers, the biblical rivers. I put this on here because it's kind of like Pangea. They don't have Africa kind of really lined up in the right spot. It's supposed to be, the West Coast is supposed to be more of on the North American East Coast, but, I just wanted you to kind of see how South America was kind of turned to the side, that and how that's different from how we know of it today. Like in this picture, how it's basically vertical with North America, yeah. Once you start to wake up, all this information to you might not make sense to you right now, but things will start to come back to you and make sense. And once you do research and things like that, this is the age of what's been hidden is now becoming unveiled. It's getting ready for the golden age. And I put this in here just because I'm going to be going on be touching on this later in a later video, but just want you to get you to thinking, get your brain, your neurons firing on this because, yeah, there's a lot with that for those that know. So this is Revelations. So he carried me away in spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman set upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations, filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast thou showest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into, If you know, you know. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called the chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, The waters which thou saw where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. It's just to help make sense of what's going on in the world. Everything's written. Prophetic. Everything that's going to happen is going to happen. Everything that was said was going to happen up to this point has happened. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, the great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Yes, that fast, in the twinkling of an eye. So I said, tomorrow's ain't promised. You gotta wake up, people. Signs in the seasons. He put them out there for a reason, so we can know what time it is. And the merchants of the earth shall sweep and mourn over her. For no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all that wood and all the manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of the most precious wood and of brass and of iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and breast and beast and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee. And all the things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. Alas, alas. And after these things I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Hallelujah, salvation and glory and honor and power unto the Lord our God. For true and righteous are his judgment. For he had judged the great whore which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and hath avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. And again they said, Hallelujah. And her smoke rose up forever and ever. And the 24 elders and the 4 beasts fell down and worshipped God that sat on the throne, saying, Amen, Hallelujah. And a voice came out of the throne, saying, Praise our God, all ye his servants, and ye that fear him, both small and great. And I heard, as it were, the voice of a great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thunder, saying, Hallelujah. For the Lord God omnipotent reigneth. Let us be glad and rejoice, and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come. Yeah, it's that time. It's that time. He already presented the ring. October. During the eclipse. On the way to get the bride. And he said unto me, Right blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he said unto me, These are the true sayings of God. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou, do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren thou have the testimony of Jesus. Worship God, for the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, and he sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were as flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written, that name no man knew, but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that flew in the midst of the heaven, Come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God, that you may eat the flesh of the kings, and the flesh of the captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sat on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beasts and the kings of the earth, and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse, and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. The mark of the beast, for those that know, you know. Like I said, what's going to happen to him? What's going to happen to him? It's written. Father don't lie. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which the sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. She knows what's coming. But let's get on something positive, because I love trees. They give us the oxygen. They clean the oxygen. If we didn't have these trees, we wouldn't be breathing. So just look at it. Look how magnificent. Oak tree, Atlantis, the Centron, Hyperion, that's not a building. That's a tree. Tree. It's a tree. It ain't a statue. That's a tree. Now these are little trees compared to what we used to have. You know, God had to have the angels cut the trees down, so the riffraff wouldn't survive. So these trees that was left over, these were just little bitty trees, even though in our eyes they was gigantic. Gigantic. Look at that Hyperion right there, or Citron. Only one left by itself. So just imagine that whole forest filled with those. And then those not even being the biggest, but trees being way bigger than that. Yeah, mind blowing. Gigantic. 84 feet in circumference. Get some power battery dying on me. My bad. I got a dang, was it a horse in there? It was 80 feet, 6 inches in circumference. And it turned it into a house. Mount Pleasant Pioneer Shack and Pioneer. So I'm guessing pilgrims, pioneers, settlers. Shack and stump. Photo taken before 1910. 1910, y'all. See what kind of clothes they wearing. So that's the thing, you know. Y'all know whose playground it is, so they want y'all to think things happen so far back in time, so that they don't really pertain to you. So there's no correlation when that's furthest from the point. Things happen way closer to us than you can really imagine. All you gotta do is look at history. You notice Adam in the beginning of the video, 4000 BC, 7 million people. But the story they gave us, Adam and Eve, they were the only one. So I gotta drive the car through the tree. Got a donkey. Look at that. See what kind of clothes you wear. And it's funny because like when you see those old videos in 1800s, mid 1800s, like for those that know, those connected to source, you know that something bad happened deep down around that time, early 1900s. Something bad happened, you know. And they got the World's Fairs, all the fires, all these cities miraculously burning down with the buildings that was built out of concrete just burning down. Like, come on now. Come on now. And the people just wearing like clothes, dress clothes, and it's just like, who's the people that built this stuff? Man, yeah, remember Christopher Columbus, what he found when he got to America? Copper-colored Indians? Like, yeah, these are the clothes they wearing in those videos. Same clothes. And they cutting down all the big giant trees. You know, they made a movie called Avatar, kind of something similar to this. I wish I could hug that tree. Only one can get his arms around that is a big giant. And yes, those are real too. Magnificent, beautiful. Just imagine just going out and seeing that outside the house, or that being your house. Yeah, there's trees in Mexico, I think. So yeah, as big as the pyramids. They had to cut down the giant trees because, like the pyramid, flat surface ain't nothing hanging on that. But yeah, here we go, Avatar. Well, everybody's seen the movie, so you know the storyline. So you basically can take that and put it in real life because that's how they tell our stories about what happened. Everything was connected. So what happens whenever you connect a tree like that, because we know in a good book you had the tree of good and evil, etc. So, what do you think would happen when you cut down some trees like that? That the whole that's connected to the earth and to the people. Seeing what happened in the movie, and you got the travels of Marco Polo. I think he did his travels in the 1200s or the 1300s. But when you get into his account, which I'm going to do a video on that later, but the things that he encountered, crazy, mind blowing. Like, yeah, you wouldn't even believe that they would be impossible. But animal people, dog-headed people, animals growing from plants, people growing from plants. Kind of crazy how they put that in the movie. You got the woman, professor or whatever, doctor, she trying to die and they trying to save her, and she's connected to Awa. And Awa takes her into the planet. Yeah, crazy, huh? And yeah, I don't know if y'all seen Avatar 2, but the whole whaling shit, yeah, same thing that happened off the coast, east coast of America, same whaling, yeah, same thing. Part 2. So they basically telling their story in movie form and they're making billions off of it for our entertainment. And we thinking but it's finally our story and not his story. Whew. But yeah, there you go. Destruction. But yeah, those are trees like that Hyperion, like how that one was standing up. Just imagine there's trees bigger than that, aka mountains. For those that know. Let's get into this, because remember, world population, when we had Adam, was 7 million, they said. When we was growing up, they told us it was just Adam and Eve. But world population in 1900 was 1.6 billion people in 1900. And if y'all know anything about history, and y'all know that when Christopher Columbus came, there was millions of Native Americans, millions, and they just started slaughtering. I think it was, I don't know if it was Cuba, but it was one of those islands. It's in his journals about how, like, he just started killing everybody. I think he only left like 500,000 or 500 left out of like 500 million of them. Yeah, they were just killing everybody. But yeah, because time frame. We know today the population is what, 8 billion. So they're telling you in 1900 there was 1.6 billion people. So that means in 120 years, we done made 7 billion people. It's not against the law to use brain chat, people. Are you starting to realize? Better get on the right team. So like I say. World population 1980, 4.4 billion people. So from 1900 to 1980, 80 years, added over 3 billion people. 80 years, 3 billion people. We making that many babies. We fucking that much. From what I look at, family size are getting smaller, People ain't having as many kids. 1800, most women in the U.S. had 7 children. That ain't happening now. Hell, you can't afford to have no kids. Well, you do your own research on that and see if it makes sense. Population, considering we had World War I, when we had smallpox that wiped out half the world population. And World War I, not to mention all the soldiers getting killed. World War II, soldiers getting killed. Not to mention before that, all the millions of Indians getting killed. Acts 8:36. And as they went on their way, they came unto a certain water, and the eunuch said, See, here is water. What doth thou hinder me to be baptized? And Philip said, If thou believest with all thy heart, thou mayest. And he answered and said, I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. And he commanded the chariot to stand still, and they went down both into the water, both Philip and the eunuch, and he baptized him. I just want to put this up here just for those people that know, maybe this will help on your search, but I'm going to be doing a video on this later because it ties into things. So, woman, adult female, human, late Old English woman. So, woman didn't come into late Old English. So this is like late after settlers. So what do we call our woman? What about wife? Wife is Middle English, Old English, same thing. So this is settlers, because like I said, they changed our language, cuneiform, Sanskrit, Latin, German, Egyptian, hieroglyphics, Greek. Well, hey, now we got English. So we know we couldn't have called our other half wife. What about goddess? Because in the Bible it says, ye are gods. So what would be the pairing of a god, a goddess? Mid 14th century female deity in polytheistic religion. So, goddess. But that's before the hijack. That sounds more fitting of what you would call a woman. I know it's kind of hard to see because women's been conditioned to what they think, how they should be a woman now, which is not the right way. So, hey, do with that what you will. I'm not here to cause any hatred, just here to speak the truth. I'm not from this world, just here to get y'all ready for the end of this world, the start of the next. Hatred stir up strife, but love covereth all sins. Proverbs 10:12. Gotta love each other. It's one commandment. Love y'all neighbor. Stop hating each other. Stop killing each other. We in this together. I need you. You need me. I love you. I need you to survive. You gotta understand who we are. You want to be an animal? Or do you want to be a God like the good book says and walk the path of the righteousness? Because that's how we end all this violence and destruction that's going on. Gotta rise above it. Gotta be better than it. We all breathe. We all breathe out. We all need the same things. And when you really get past the bullshit, you can see, we all want the same shit. We all want to be free, happy, take care of our family, and no problems. So why not build a civilization that's conducive with that? How much money has the U.S. given to other countries? Too fucking much. I'm gonna be doing videos on this too because I got this website and it basically it'll show you which country gets what amount of money and what they use it for. It's crazy. So like we're basically funding all these world's countries, militaries and governments. So once you see that, it's like, how the hell are we going to war with these countries if we're paying for their military? It's not war, it's policing. How much do the United States give Israel every year? $3 billion annually, and implemented a free trade agreement in 1985. Yikes. Israel population 9.36 million in 2021. Why does the U.S. give money to Israel? Almost all U.S. aid to Israel recently has been military aid rather than economic aid in the form of foreign military financing grants. U.S. grants and loans. U.S. grants and loans to Israel for acquiring U.S. military equipment and services. So it's giving them $3 billion for their military every year. So pretty much it's their army. Pretty much the state of Israel is the 51st state that was started in 1948. And if you remember that map from 1348, where Jerusalem was located. But that's coming more in a later video, if you can't put two and two together. The United States foreign aid. There was just one point I want to point out. Y'all can pause and read it off if you want, but I just want to say this one thing. Initially, the main recipient was the United Kingdom. The Soviet Union began receiving supplies paid for in gold in June 1941 outside of Lend-Lease and was included in the Lend-Lease agreement in November 1941. Do y'all remember when they took all our gold? So y'all remember in the early 1900s when smallpox wiped out the majority of the population? And y'all remember the whole story about the colonizers wiping out the Indians with smallpox? How ironic is that to happen twice like that, so close apart? Hmm. Just think a little bit. That's all I'm asking you to do. So let's get to the copper-colored Indians, because we knew the Egyptians, the root race, the Shemitic race, was copper-colored in Egypt, which they have pyramids on every continent. So that's the civilization we revere still to this day. As you can look all over the world, you see the Egyptian and Greco-Roman. So if you go to Egypt and you just see the pyramids, where did they live? You mean to tell me these people were so great and could build pyramids all over the land, but we don't have no visualization where they lived at, what that looked like? Greco-Roman. That's Egyptian Roman architecture. That's all over the world too. Put two and two together. They are called the copper-colored people, according to the American Dictionary of English, also referred to as Webster Dictionary in 1828. The Native Americans, also called Indians, were described American, a noun, a Native of American, originally applied to the Aborigines of copper-colored races found here by the Europeans. And then they later took the title and gave it to their descendants of European. Whew. Table of Nations, Genesis. I think this is the King New International Version. Table of Nations. This is the account of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, Noah's sons, who themselves had sons after the flood. Japheth's. From these, the maritime people spread out into their territories by their clan with their nations, each with their own language. So they left out. Then you have the Hamites, sons of Ham, Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan, which we told y'all before. Second, it was extremely dark. Their first centers of this kingdom were Babylon, Ur, Akkad, Calneh, and Shinar. These are the sons of Ham by their clans and language and their territories and nations. So that's where they went. Shemites. Sons were born to Shem, whose older brother was Japheth. Shem was the ancestor of all the sons of Eber. But you know the story. Genesis 11. Tower of Babel. Now the whole earth had one language and one common speech. As people moved eastward, they found a plain, and Shinar settled there. They said, "Come." They said each, "Come, let us make bricks, bake them thoroughly," etc., etc. Y'all know the story. This is why it was called Tower of Babel, because the Lord confused the language of the whole world. From there, the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth. So it seems that, did the flood happen or did the Tower of Babel happen first? This is King James Version, Genesis 10. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Unto them were the sons born after the flood. The sons of Japheth, boom, boom, boom. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their land, every one of after his tongue, after their families and their nations. So Japhet, I'm telling you, those are the Gentiles. Let's go to the sons of Ham. They was in Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. And these are the sons of Ham, after their family, after their tongues, in their country, and in their nations. They didn't say nothing about them being Gentiles. The children of Shem. These are the sons of Shem, after their family, after their tongues, and their lands, and their nations. They didn't say nothing about them being Gentiles. These are the families of the sons of Noah after their generations and their nations, and these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. So, Genesis 11. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begat Praxis 2 years after the flood. So they went, and the whole earth was of one language and one speech for 100 years. So did the flood or Tower of Babel happen first? For those that know. But seeing this image online, I thought it was pretty fitting. If we pause it, and pretty much tells you everything right there. Revelations 4:2-3. Behold, a throne was set in the heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and a sardine stone. The Most High, that's the color of the Most High. And the color of the Egyptians root raised to root. And the color of the copper color means rapid fountain. Not the Europeans, Christopher Columbus, and countries.